What's up, cool kids? John here, and I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the second episode of my cinematic journey through the AFI's Greatest Films list. Now, this video is going to differ from the previous one I released. In that video, I talked about 4 films, whereas this one, I'm just going to talk about one film and one film only. I had a lot of difficulty uploading the other video. Took a day and a half, and that's just wrong. I don't want to do that anymore. So going forward, I'm just going to upload one video at a time. Maybe get into a little bit more of the details of the film as I talk about it. So that being said, before I get into what I checked out this week, if this is your first time finding my channel, I just want to say thank you. I hope you like it. And hey, while you're here, go ahead and throw a subscribe in there. I mean, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. The channel would benefit from it, and I would appreciate it greatly. And after you hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell. That way you'll always be kept up to date on what I'm watching, where I'm watching it, who I'm watching it with, just one of those things. So, the film I decided to check out was number 70 on the 1998 list and number 93 on the revised list in 2008. I got a pretty good idea as to why it dropped that far, but this film was nominated for 8 Academy Awards. It took home 5, one for Best Editing, one for Best Adapted Screenplay, one for Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture. The film I'm talking about is one of the greatest action thriller films that's ever been made, and I'm talking about The French Connection. Now, this isn't a first-time watch for me. I have seen this film multiple times. If you haven't seen The French Connection, it's based on a true story, and I'll try to, in a nutshell, give you or tell you what the original French Connection case was all about. In the early 60s, 2 narcotics detectives for the New York City Police Department, Eddie Egan and Sonny Grosso, acting on a hunch, they decided to put surveillance on a Pasquale Patsy Fuca. He was like a mob associate, and they saw him hanging around at a club where it was frequented by drug dealers. So they decided to put, surveillance on him, and what they uncovered was that there was going to be this massive drug trafficking scheme. Someone was trying to bring in, a whole bunch of heroin into the United States. And what they found out was that it was masterminded by this one French drug dealer, I guess, and his name was Jean Jehan. Now, that's as far as I'm going to go with the original story itself, what really happened. And onto the movie. I mean, yes, they do take some creative liberties in the movie. Like the producers, they didn't give them the real names of the people who were involved in the case. Because you have Gene Hackman here. He's not called Eddie Egan in the film. He's called Jimmy Popeye Doyle. And his partner, Roy Scheider, is not called Sonny Grosso. He's called Buddy Russo. But essentially in the film, it acts out pretty much what happened with the original French Connection case. This shows them, doing the surveillance operation, and how how Jean Jehan, in the film, he's called Alain Charnier. And it shows how Charnier manages to try to smuggle, the drugs into the country, and how almost at every turn, Gene Hackman, Popeye Doyle is saying, I need this, and none of his superiors, they want to believe him. At one point throughout the film, they tell him, you're off the case, but he just doesn't stop. He doesn't want to let this go. So that's with not giving, complete, spoilers for the whole film. That's essentially what it is. There is a absolutely amazing car chase scene in this, and it is one of the greatest that's ever been filmed. I do have an issue with the car chase because, to me, if it's a car chase, it's going to be two cars. Or this one's actually a car chasing an elevated train, but still, it is it's intense. I mean, it's very, very, it's awesome. How about that? It's just awesome. Now, there are reasons, at least to me, that I know why this film went from 70 to 93. It's, to me, I honestly believe it has to do with the character of Popeye Doyle. Without, I mean, just calling it what it is, Popeye Doyle, he's a bigot and he's a racist, and he does say, racist things in the film. And there was an interview with Gene Hackman, after, I think when he was, it's included on the Blu-ray, where he says, Popeye, he's a man of his time. I mean, those are the things that, people said back then at that time. And to me, I think that's why this film got knocked down from 70 to 93. It's just, how Popeye, he treats others around him. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's a bigot. He's a racist. He's an alcoholic. And he likes to get with girls. You only get to see him get with one girl in the movie, but you can tell he's kind of like a ladies' man. A skirt chaser, if you will. But to me, that's the reason why I think this film went from 70 to 93. Some of the likes in this film, again, what I liked, I absolutely loved Gene Hackman and his performance in this. I mean, he deserved the Academy Award for this. Yes, he does say some awful things, but, if you want something done, you call Popeye. There's a bar scene where he walks in, and he says, "All right, everybody, Popeye's here." And, everybody just, they know the drill. There's, 20, 30 people in that bar, and it's just he and Cloudy. That's his partner's nickname, is Cloudy. Everybody gets up, and they move. They clear the way for Popeye. He's that much of an intimidating presence. The car chase scene is, again, it's one of the best I've ever seen. I remember watching a film, Ronin, John Frankenheimer film, and there's a car chase scene in that film. And a lot of people said it brought them back to watching The French Connection and that car chase scene. The way Billy Friedkin shot the film, it has that gritty, dirty, documentary style filmmaking. To me, it's I was actually out there with Popeye and Cloudy as they were, chasing these people down. Not a lot of Steadicam shots. It just feels like everything was handheld. It's like you were a person out on the street and you were witnessing this all go down in front of you. There's a subway scene where Popeye is, they're tailing, the main players in this drug ring, and Popeye decides to take Charnier, and it's like this little cat and mouse thing where he's following Charnier, and Charnier's losing him. Then he picks him back up again. Then he loses him. And there's once right before the scene ends on the subway car. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and I'll go ahead and do it now. Where it's just, if you know what then you know what if you know what it is, you know what it is. Now there are maybe 2 dislikes I have about this entire film. And the first one is, to me, I think it's maybe 10 or 15 minutes too short. I mean, I would have liked to have seen more with the Charnier character and how he uses this character from this French television personality. He uses him to help with the smuggling. I like to see more of a kind of like a backstory or relationship with those two, because I mean, this person trusts him willingly, and I'm like, I'd like to know a little bit more about that story. I'm big on exposition. I mean, call it one of my flaws, but I like to have as much backstory as possible. That's, and, no, you know what? That's the only really complaint that I have about it. Everything's edited great. It's fantastic, but I just, give me a little bit more about Charnier and his character. I want a little bit more of that. I know the main story's about Popeye, but I'd want more about Charnier, because, I mean, this is a true story. I'd like to have a little bit more of his backstory. But yeah, that's my likes. That's my dislikes. I did give this I gave it a 5 stars on my Letterboxd. I mean, this is truly an amazing film, and I would absolutely love to see this get a 4K treatment, whether it be Criterion or whether it be Arrow. This does deserve a 4K. So yeah, that's it. That's my, initial thoughts on The French Connection. Let me know what you guys thought about this film, or anything I had to say down in the comment section below. So that's it for The French Connection. I will have another video uploaded in a couple of days of another film. So until next time, what are you watching today?